preparation and documentation. The foundation was on March 20, 1646 by Martin de Zavala. He legalized the official document where the land was from the river of Cerritos and ended in the other river of San Juan. The leading owners of Santiago are Rodriguez Margarita, Lucas Knight of Olives, Gertrudis Rodriguez, Francisco Rodriguez, Maria Caballero, and the brothers Francisco and Mateo Rodriguez, among others, from 1670 to 1691. In the Villa of Santiago, you can find such a variety of things to do, like the most popular restaurants that they are, like the Piazzetta, Mia Italia, and La Casa de la Abuelita. Those are the most popular restaurants recognized of the town. There's also a small market where you can buy handicrafts like bracelets, bags, molcajetes, and much more. There's also a viewpoint and a very nice church.
While we were investigating about this place, we conclude that our opinion is that almost all the houses that we saw are like old houses. All the structure that we saw is from years behind. We conclude that the town is so interesting because of the past years when all the owners were only from one family, and they are a lot. We think that all the restaurants that are in the Villa Santiago are so delicious, but especially one restaurant called La Casa de la Abuela. We recommend this restaurant for all the family because the food is so good, it is Mexican food, and all the people are so kind.
The Parque Fundidora is a public park located on the land occupied by the Fundidora de Fierro y Acero Company from Monterrey from 1900 to 1986. The park is located in the former Obrera neighborhood to the east from the center of Monterrey. The park is very accessible and it is to get to in the following ways. Walking is located east of the Marco Plaza at the end of the Paseo Santa Lucia in the Monterrey Metro. Parque Fundidora and Griega stations adjoin the park. By car and urban transport along Avenida Madero and Avenida Fundidora, is which there are multiple parking lots. The Fundidora Monterrey was a steel company created in 1900 at the initiative of Vicente Ferrera, León Signoret, Eugenio Kelly, and Antonio Basagoiti, who were among the first to glimpse the potential of the state of Nuevo León as a steel producer.
On May 5, 1900, the Compañía Fundidora de Fierro y Acero de Monterrey was established, a manufacturing center where the first blast furnace in Latin America was installed. The company became federal property in 1977 until its bankruptcy in 1986. 2 years later, after being declared financially insolvent, in 1988 the Fundidora Trust was created, whose purpose is to manage the park. Currently, the Fundidora Park is considered a decentralized public body. The Fundidora Monterrey was a steel company created in 19th at the initiative of Vicente Ferrara, León Signoret, Eugenio Kelly, and Antonio Basagoiti, who were among the first to glimpse the potential of the states of Nuevo León as a steel producer. For 60 years, he devoted himself exclusively to the manufacture of non-flat iron and steel articles, such as rails, wire rod, corrugated rod, structures, railway wheels, and others. Blast furnace number 3 is still preserved intact within the park. It produced up to 100,000 tons of steel per year in 1977, and it reached its maximum capacity by operating with the remaining 3 furnaces. The company reached the goal of 1 million tons of steel before its closure. Blast furnace number 3 was declared a monument and it is protected by a heritage law. In conclusion, And Fundidora is a really important place for Monterrey, and it is a great place for touristic experiences. It also has a great history that is really interesting.
El Obispado is located at the top of the Loma de la Chapevera, named because around it was the lands of Jose Vera. Here you can find the Regional Museum of Nuevo León, El Obispado, which was inaugurated in September 1956, and in February 2005, a plaza and monumental flag were inaugurated on the top of the hill, in addition to being the best viewpoint in the city. The property was built at the end of the Spanish Virreinato in New Spain at the request of the Franciscan friar Rafael José Barquero, second bishop of the Diocese of Linares, who promoted the construction of a house of rest and the prayer on the land that was granted to him by the City Council of the City of Monterrey in 1787. The country's biggest monumental flag was located at the top of the Cerro del Obispado, in the same place the public scenic look is, and it was inaugurated on February 24, 2005 to celebrate the Mexican Flag Day. El Obispado is a place full of history, where today might be just a museum, but it is full of history. It is like you're traveling to the past. We fully recommend visiting this place at noon, so that at dusk you can head the Mirador to see beautiful sunset among the mountains.
Puente de la Unidad, also known as Puente Atirantado, is a cable-stayed bridge that crosses the Santa Catarina River in order to connect the cities of Monterrey and San Pedro. Puente Atirantado is one of the most important bridges in all Nuevo León. This bridge has made the traffic more fluid and brings so much utility because of its connections between the both cities. The idea of building the Puente de la Unidad was originally proposed during the year of 2003. Although some people were against it because of the high cost, many others were in favor considering how fluid traffic would be after it's built. And nowadays, we couldn't live the same way without that bridge.
The Macroplaza, also known as the Gran Plaza, is a town square located in the heart of the city of Monterrey, Mexico. What town square is to New York, the Macroplaza could be considered what it is to Monterrey, or at least this is the closest thing you can find of the same nature. One thing about the construction of this place is that 283 families and 310 businesses needed to be relocated, since they were going to demolish 40 blocks worth of construction, Also, it's important to say that a cinema named Elizondo was destroyed in the process. There's a lack of information about what went behind the processes or who are the owners of the lands, but still we know that this was denominated as the Plan de Desarrollo Urbano de Monterrey, an initiative by Governor Alfonso Martínez Domínguez, which of course went into action. We also know the Macroplaza was built around the start of the 80s decade and moved a lot of families and businesses for the destruction of its buildings to build it from the ground up. The purpose of building this was to stimulate touristic and commercial development. The Macroplaza can be understood as a life-changing moment for many people from Monterrey, principally because of the people who lived where the Macroplaza is now. What really was impressive was that there was little to less information about the place from a political standpoint. Not a lot of the movements that were done by the government were too detailed at all. Either way, the final project could be considered a very beautiful place in Monterrey, thanks to all the grasses and shops that can be found, and also it was all planned to look and be like it is today. Also, it is a great touristic option to foreigners for the plain beauty of the architecture.
Las Grutas de Garcia are a group of caves which were discovered by the Mormolejo family in 1843 and a tourist attraction that opened up in 1948. Las Grutas are located within the Sierra del Fraile in the town of Garcia, 30 kilometers from Monterrey. This place is full of nature's magic where you can find many natural sculptures such as La Mano, the Christmas tree, the theater, the frozen fountain, La Octava Maravilla, etc. In order to reach this place, you can buy a ticket for the cable car or hike your way to the cavern.